Another day, another idiot. Senator Tom Cotton, Republican of Arkansas, or Arkansas, depending on your pronunciation, a prominent foreign policy hawk, voiced confidence in a new interview that the U.S. could win a war with Iran, saying it would take, in quotation marks, two stwiikes. Yes, two stwiikes, he told Firing Lines Margaret Hoover when asked if the U.S. could win a war against Iran. The first stwike and the last stwike. Cotton said that he would not advocate for a war with Iran, but warned there would be a furious response to any provocation against U.S. interests in the region. I don't advocate. Oh, let me do my voice for him. I don't advocate military action against Iran. I'm simply delivering the message that if Iran were to attack the United States, it would be a grave miscalculation on their part and there would be a furious response, he said. The comments come amid escalating tensions between Washington and Tehran, which is if I remember correctly, the capital of Iran. The already contentious relationship further deteriorated last week after the Trump administration announced a U.S. carrier strike group would head to the region in response to unspecified, troubling, and escalatory indications and warnings. The move was reportedly prompted in part by intelligence that Tehran gave permission to and this thing is blocking me now, some of its proxy forces in the area to attack U.S. military assets and personnel in the region. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani also announced last week that he would curtail Iran's compliance with the landmark nuclear deal reached between the U.S. and several other world leaders with Iran in 2015. President Trump withdrew the U.S. from the pact in 2017 because he said the agreement did not adequately address Tehran's influence in the region or its missile programs, though European signatories have urged Tehran to remain in the deal. Cotton cited similar concerns to Trump's when discussing possible moves Iran could make to de-escalate tensions, though he suggested he was not optimistic. What I want is an outlaw regime to change its behavior, to rejoin the civilized world and stop supporting terrorism and trying to overthrow governments of so many of its neighbors. Ultimately, it's up to the Iranian people and their leaders to decide how they're going to govern our country. But with men like those in charge of Iran, I think we're going to see what we've seen for the last 40 years, which is a revolutionary theological movement that's hijacked the powers of a nation state. Jesus Christ, so much to unpack here. They really should have put all of his comments before any of the background information. So, he says that he's not advocating for a conflict, right? But then you say we could take you out in two shots. And you're saying this because, I oftentimes say when people are online, they're talking about stuff, it's whatever because they have no, they don't have certainly anywhere near the power that a government official would have. It's really dangerous for a person who can vote on all of these different wars and various conflicts that we have to say, I'm not saying that, I want a war with Iran. I'm just saying if we did, we'd blow them up in two pieces. Like, no one thinks that's weird. And you have to remember, this isn't like, the Noam, this isn't a person who has a Noam Chomsky philosophy of wars. This is a person who, as far as I can tell, I know he supported staying in Yemen when it came up all those different times. So he doesn't exactly have a record that says I'm someone who is not always going to be on the side of having a conflict to have a conflict. Hell, if Trump wasn't so, kind of like slightly pro North Korea, or at least showed some interest in trying to have peace with them, he would be pushing for that too. And what I find so comedic is that you read through these statements because a lot of times I can't always remember all the different parts. But go back down here where he's talking about it's up to the Iranian people and their leaders. No, it's not up to the people. If you believe they have an undemocratic system with the supreme leader, which they do, at least that particular part of it is not democratic. Well, they have a council, small group of people that put that person there, whatever. If you think that's not democratic, and which is true, that it's a small group of people determining stuff for the majority, you should also concede the fact that the U.S. government is the same way. A majority of the U.S. citizens do not pick every single or really anything that the president does. They have no control over it. Yeah, they can vote a person in office, but a lot of times they have positions that were not that popular, that were just simply overridden because of other issues, or they narrowly win. So he's given the people a lot more of a issue than with the actual government. Their role is being overstated by him. And if you read the other part right here where it says, rejoin the civilized world, what the hell do you think was the point of the nuclear deal? It was all these countries getting together and saying, we're going to monitor your nukes in a way that is not, the result of us having some conflict. We kill a whole bunch of you and then we invade the place. That was the whole point of that. That was a civilized agreement that you right-wing pricks didn't like, because you apparently think in a negotiation and a compromise you're supposed to get all of what you want and not concede anything to the other side. And again, as a person who has said before they don't like Obama, that was one of the things he did that I actually liked, and I've repeated that comment with a multitude of times. Getting out of that was one of the, I'd say, probably top five stupidest things Trump's done in office, especially when it comes to international stuff. That was completely insane, and his followers just go right along with it. Now, that part about trying to overthrow the governments of so many of its neighbors. So let's pretend we didn't try to overthrow the Mohammed Mossadegh. Let's pretend that didn't happen in the 50s. Let's just say that never. Let's retcon that to have not existed. What the hell do you call the U.S.'s involvement in Venezuela? What do you call that? They elected a leader. You tell them, no, this other person's your president, and you're not trying to overthrow the government of one of our whatever, of another country. This is literally the pot calling the kettle metal, where they're telling you not to do something that they themselves are doing. Like this whole interview is filled with the warmongering, the projection. It's like a grand buffet of stupidity. And the worst part about it is that because my channel's set up to where you do something political, it gets half the views, if not less. People won't even realize how stupid this is. They'll just keep on having this really ignorant senator that is talking to both sides of his mouth, that like is literally accusing Iran of being the U.S. Like, no, you are the person who tries to change behaviors of other countries and refuses to join the civilized world. Why the hell do you think we're bombing 7 countries? Because you don't care about an agreement. So, the stupidity reigns supreme. Into the toilet we go.